Welcome everyone to Movie Talk with Justin. Justin here, and today we are launching officially the channel with our first review. If you have seen this handsome face before, then you've probably seen my other channel, tacosandgeeks.com and Imaginative Visions, where I review anime, video games, and do podcasts. But this particular channel is going to be strictly for movies. So my number one passion when it comes to just talking, it's always about movies. And we will be reviewing recent movies as well, probably diving into a retrospective of some movies from the past, some classics, maybe Casablanca, maybe Dracula. We'll probably get into that down the line, but this will mainly strictly be recent movies that are either in theaters or just hit the streaming services. So for today, our first movie we are going to be talking about is a movie that just came out today, and that is, of course, Looney Tunes, the day the Earth blew up. And I, I, I just gotta say, I love Looney Tunes. I really love Looney Tunes. I think we all grew up with it. I grew up with Looney Tunes on the Cartoon Network, where we used to watch it all the time, the Merry Melodies. And I'm gonna actually talk about a little bit of the Merry Melodies here because this movie actually has some really cool Easter eggs and callbacks in this actual production of this film. So as always, I will be giving you a brief synopsis of the film. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the story, spoiler free, of course, as always. We'll talk a little bit about the characters, the animation, since this is an animation film. Won't be talking too much of cinematography since it's an animated film. We'll talk a little bit about the voice acting and music. And of course, I'll be giving you my final rating. Now, my final rating is going to be a little bit different. Usually, we will go with a star system, 4 out of 5 stars, or we'll do a number system like 9 out of 10, or some people do the letter grades. I'm just going to keep it very, very simple, and my rating system is going to be this: go see it in the theaters, wait for the Blu-ray, or skip it entirely. And if you're talking about a streaming service movie, we'll say watch it now, put it in your queue for later, or skip it entirely. So without further ado, my friends, let's talk about the day the Earth blew up, a Looney Tunes movie. Here is a brief synopsis. Due to a series of antics at the bubblegum factory, Daffy Duck and Porky Pig discover a secret alien plot to take over the Earth via mind control. The duo must work together to stop the aliens with a little help from Petunia Pig, while trying to avoid driving each other insane. Now, it's been a very long time since we got a actual Looney Tunes movie, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think the last movie we got was the one starring Brendan Fraser. This particular movie, if you are a Looney Tune fan, I'll have to say this: they did a really good job. Yes, it does kind of feel like this could have probably been on Cartoon Network, to be honest, because it's what you expect from a Looney Tunes movie plot. As the synopsis states, we have Daffy and we have Porky Pig, and the way they did this particular film, it can actually kind of serve as an origin story for these two particular characters. And what I mean by that is that it's more of a reintroduction into these two Looney Tune characters because they actually have a little bit of backstory. These two both grew up on a farm together. They're practically brothers in this particular film, and they basically are left with the actual farm, and they're going to be in charge of it as they get older. Since this is spoiler free, I won't dive too deep into the plot. Let's just say it's the Looney Tunes. What do you think will happen if you leave Looney Tunes in charge of a actual house? Do you really think that Daffy Duck and Porky Pig are going to be upkeeping this particular place? Well, you have to think about that, and that's all I'll say in terms of how deep the plot goes, in terms of what happens. But there's something that happens in this film that has to deal with the house, where Porky and Daffy have to now be in charge of the upkeep, and shenanigans happen where Porky and Daffy uncover a plot that might actually threaten the Earth. And I was actually pleasantly surprised with the actual film because, yes, it is what we expect from Looney Tunes film. It's wacky. There's some really hilarious hijinks in here. And even at the age in my 30s, I still found chuckles and actually laugh out moments in here. I will have to say this for parents out there who are thinking about taking their younger kids into the into this film. There are a lot of adult jokes here that I don't think some parents might be comfortable exposing, I will say, like a 4-year-old to. There's some really actual sexual innuendos in here in this particular film, which I'll, especially between Petunia and Porky Pig, there's some actual sexual jokes and tension in here that I was actually shocked about that they actually allowed to happen and actually put and paid off later on in the film. But yeah, there are some adult jokes in here, obviously, that adults will spot. Little kids probably will have no idea what we're talking about. But for the parents out there watching this review, just want to give you a little bit of a heads up as an uncle myself. This might be something you might want to wait a little bit later on, or you might fast forward those parts if you decide to wait for the streaming services for this. But hilariously, and hijinks happen, and in terms of the characters, we get some really good characterization here because what happens in the film with Porky and Daffy here is the fact that Porky, as we know, Porky Pig, he's always been straight laced. He's always been more of the calm one, while Daffy is always insane going into these hijinks. And what this film does really great with their relationship is that it gets to the point where Porky is tired. Porky is tired. And that's all I'm going to say about this. They did a really good job of really making Porky just kind of grow tired of Daffy's antics. And how it pays off was beautifully done. And that's pretty much the underlining external and internal conflict is that Porky is dealing with his relationship with Daphne. And then we get the introduction to Petunia in here, which really complicates things, especially with the way Porky is feeling because this is his discovery of love and he's really falling for somebody, but it also has to deal with the fact that he still has to live and deal with Daffy Duck. And I thought the characterizations and the interactions and relationships between Porky and Donald was, excuse me, Daffy, Donald's another one. Porky and Daffy were handled very, very well in this. As far as the animation goes here, when it comes to the animation, if you are a Looney Tunes fan, there are so much callbacks to the hijinks and the Merry Melody days. There's actually, especially the music as well, is just a nostalgia trip for those who grew up watching the Looney Tunes and the Merry Melody days because it's a nice callback. There are actual scenes in here where there are no dialogue, where there is no dialogue, I should say. And all you hear is that music, that energetic trumpets, the drums, that energetic music with the bass, the percussion just really banging, 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 banging. And you're sitting, I'm just sitting there, I'm watching this, I'm just going, wow, this is awesome. This just brings me back. And I credit to the musicians and the production crew because there are so much callbacks to Daffy's hijinks back in the Looney Tune days. There's callbacks to Porky Pig. I'll just give you one minor spoiler. You can't do Porky Pig without his famous quote. And if you're wondering what he does, his famous quote, he definitely does. It's a beautiful Easter egg, and it worked towards the story. And that's the great thing about this particular Looney Tunes film, which I will have to say is the best one in years, is they keep the what makes Looney Tunes so good. But they also added some heart to Porky and Daffy's relationship. Not saying that it doesn't go into the little bit of the melodramatic realm, because it does, and there's some moments in here where the pacing does kind of feel rushed, and it's times where I was hoping that even though it's a Looney Tunes film, I was hoping that the dramatic moments that they were trying to build up to they would have let it breathe a little bit, but it happens, and then Daffy does something, and then the hijinks happens, and it kind of kills the tension that was being built between him and Porky. And some things I will have to say also get resolved a little bit too quickly. And some of the negatives I will have to say, of course, unfortunately, will be our villain, the alien. And when we find out the true nature of the alien, it kind of defeats the purpose of kind of what they were building up to. The alien's also very one note static character. It's just, I'm here to do this deed. There's no real motivation besides this one thing that this alien wants to accomplish. So there's no real meat to that particular character. Also, other side characters don't really get fleshed out tremendously, where they just in the scene, they're very one note. So there's no real connection besides Petunia, Daffy, and Porky Pig here. But that aside, I will still have to say the story was really well done. The animation is beautifully drawn. There is something that there is this one particular shot I will have to say that I was just going, hmm. I think this is an inside joke on animation budget. When you see it, you will know it's right in the beginning, and I'll give you a clue. The farmer. When you see how the farmer moves, it's definitely an inside joke. It's definitely a lot of Easter eggs to the animations beforehand. So kudos to the filmmakers for that. So I'm gonna head into my final rating with this, and I'm gonna give the day the Earth blew up, Looney Tunes. You know what? I'm gonna give this a go see it. Go see it in theaters. If you are a Looney Tunes fan, and if you've been really looking forward to Looney Tunes film, you can't go wrong with this, especially with the duo of Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. That's some really good characterization here. You have all the Daffy's callback hijinks, Porky's hijinks. Petunia was done very well. Really great characterization on her part, and she is a key figure in this particular film as well. Obviously, for spoiler reasons, I didn't go too deep into what her role she plays, but I really did enjoy it. I thought the production was great. The animation was fluid. The music is just straight callback to the Merry Melody days that I grew up watching on Cartoon Network. It is a really good time. I say go see it. This is Justin from Movie Talk with Justin. If you like what we do here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hopefully, we'll earn your subscription. And what did you think of the day the Earth blew up, a Looney Tunes movie? Comment below, let me know, and let's discuss the film. Of course, keep it spoiler free, my friends. I will catch you on the next review. Later days.